If you in there, nigga, I'm ghost.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you want to see the full live stream that this video is from, click the link in the description down below. But before we get into this, make sure you thumbs up and subscribe, and let's get it. So, that's Visions. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen it. And also, from what I haven't seen, I'll rank them like hold on. From what I haven't seen, I'll rank them basically from what I've heard or what I've actually seen. Visions, I seen maybe 10 minutes of the first episode, and then I think I had to do something. And then everyone else, like, I was busy, and then everyone else was just saying, oh, the first like 2 episodes was good, the third one was bad or something. The worst, it was either the worst or all right. The next one, if the third episode was the worst, then the fourth one was all right. I just remember the third or fourth episode being all right, and then the rest was not good. But the first 1 or 2 episodes was good. Tales of the Jedi, be honest, that's great. So far we're gonna have to see how it compares to everything else. It might go higher or lower depending on, like, for instance, if there's 20 things in here and one in best, then we obviously know. Now, Phantom Menace, we're gonna put it at decent right now. It's now let's put it at good. We'll put it at good. Probably towards the end of good, and then probably towards the beginning of decent, we'll put Attack of the Clones. Now, Attack of the Clones, basically the thing that's really, like, bad for me is, there's a few parts here and there. Let's see if I still have, like, I had a list, and it was like, it didn't include the shows, but it was just talking about the movies. Let's see if I still got it in my notes. Star Wars. Damn. Movies. Ranking. Nope, I don't got it on here still. Basically, I remember one thing I said was Phantom Menace reminded me of like a mid-tier Clone Wars episode, but live action. Besides, the final fight. Everyone knows about the final fight. People like the pod racing scene. I didn't really care for it. It was alright. Controversial take, but I kind of viewed, and it's kind of ironic that people view each of them, like, I view them the same way, but they're kind of just in the middle, and they're, oh, it's cool, and I don't really like that, this and that. Subtract the 3D from it. People kind of view in a bad way Spy Kids 3D, and people like the pod racing scene. Now, the only scene I'm talking about from Spy Kids 3D is the racing scene, and I enjoyed, it was cool with that, and the pod racing scene from Star Wars. I kind of view them like, okay, yeah, they're cool, but people hated and I viewed them kind of similar. People hated Spy Kids, but then like the pod racing scene in Star Wars. Attack of the Clones, people clowned on it a lot, but I get Anakin's point of view, but I don't get Padme's point of view. Now it's different if we establish this relationship already, not like, them knowing each other, but like they're already in a committed relationship together, even if it's in secret or not. And all right, I'm gonna hold you to it. So if I pull up tomorrow, you better not finesse me. Buy a slice, get one slice free. Yeah, I might have to pull up. But I didn't get her point of view of like, he just said, I killed all these people. And then, I get her comfort in him, but then the very next scene with them, one of the next scenes with them together, she's like, I truly deeply love you. I don't get that. If maybe if they're already together, he needs some reassurance with her. And then she said that to comfort him. Then I'll be like, okay, yeah, that's a banger. But yeah, that's kind of the only thing that really held it down for me. I liked Attack of the Clones, but it was just that brought it down for me. And there's a few moments that I was like, little okay, this minus a little bit here, minus a little bit there. Clone Wars, I haven't seen it, I'll be honest. What people described it for me, I would think that, it was alright. Like how I said, Phantom Menace reminds me of like a live action Clone Wars episode, like mid tier. They said this was basically 4 Clone Wars episodes together, but I guess it just wasn't good. And then this is when they introduced Ahsoka, so I don't remember hating Ahsoka, but I remember hearing people hated Ahsoka, and then came to like her. So probably it was what's it called? Probably the hatred came from this movie. Clone Wars, controversial. I'm putting it behind Tales of the Jedi. Now Tales of the Jedi, if you come up with 7 seasons like Clone Wars and you're to the same quality, then I don't think it's controversial at all. But you have 1 season, we don't have that much to judge you on. I think it was quality episodes. But Clone Wars, let's be honest. I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch every single episode. There were some episodes and it was strictly droid stuff. I didn't go for that. Now it's not that like, it's not my thing. It's not my thing to like watch a completely droid episode. I like C-3PO, I like R2-D2. I'm not going. And then I'm like, oh, not a droid. Who's that? Jar Jar Binks. Like, dude, I didn't ask for that. Now, I probably would have watched the episode and was like, okay, that was okay, but I'm not excited to watch that. And also, if we want to take it into account, people didn't like some of the storylines. Like, when they think of season 7, they think of Siege of Mandalore. And then, what was the first? And then the first storyline, like, I think there's 12 episodes. They think of like the first couple episodes and then they think of the last 4 episodes. But I remember when it came out, people hated the middle of the season. I liked it. I mean, it wasn't like, oh yeah. But people, when they think about Clone Wars, they kind of just think of Siege of Mandalore, Obi-Wan, and but they don't take into account other things. And it was also cool kind of seeing that, transition of like being, oh, this is Anakin and Obi-Wan. Oh, now it's Anakin, Obi-Wan, Padme, and Ahsoka. It's all of them. We got some Palpatine in the mix. And I was really the clones. This is a clone centric episode. And then we get to the final season. We have characters here and there, but it's Ahsoka. You got that transition, and then you got that last little beautiful moment, that little send-off. Revenge of the Sith. Best. I'm going to be honest. We going to talk about some other things in a second, but if we're talking about my top 5 favorite movies, Revenge of the Sith is always in there. Now the only, like, some things damn. Ugh. Every one of them had something I can't remember. If someone was to say, what is the best like Star Wars film as in term of like straight filmmaking, you probably go for Empire Strikes Back. You know, I probably put Revenge and Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope like all in, like they got to be top 3. And then when I first made a list just talking about the movies, I had each of them have, this was the best at this. I can't remember if Revenge of the Sith, I think I just said it was my favorite, and an Empire, like, you, if we're just talking strictly filmmaking and like impact and stuff like that, you could probably go for Empire. But we're gonna talk, I don't remember what I said for Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace, of them being the best of something. Bad Batch, I'm gonna be honest, Bad Batch, I forgot when I talked about it, but Bad Batch is fire as like its story arc, but I don't really care. Like, for instance, it'd be really fire to see Bad Batch in Rebels, Bad Batch live action, in whatever series, Bad Batch in Clone Wars, Bad Batch in whatever, this, that, and the third. But Bad Batch animated, strictly about them. I mean, obviously there's other characters in the mix, but just concerning them, I didn't really care for it. Like, for instance, if the Clone Wars was just Rex and that's it, and then here and there you might see Anakin and Ahsoka. Okay, yeah, here and there I can see Anakin and Ahsoka. Bad Batch, I watched season 1 and I didn't watch season 2, I'm gonna be honest. Like, season 2 came around and I was like, I missed it. No, at first, I think maybe I watched an episode. I don't remember. I think I watched an episode and then I was gonna wait for them to come out so I can watch them, like, instead of, oh, here's 20 minutes of Bad Batch and then now I gotta wait a week. I think I waited a little bit and I was just like, I don't really care that much. Solo. Controversial take. I think it's alright. A lot of people hate this movie. Now, granted, Han Solo's probably not even in my top 10 of Star Wars characters. He's probably in my top 10 of Star Wars original trilogy characters, maybe. I don't really like original trilogy. I liked Darth Vader number 1 and probably Luke number 2. And then, yeah, like, then you could kind of start thinking about characters here and there. But like, besides Darth Vader and Luke, characters weren't really explored like that. So it's just kind of, you're just getting a little bit about them and then you just go from there. Oh, Obi-Wan number 3 original trilogy. Even though I feel like he's better in prequels because, you know, from a certain point of view. But so maybe it was a certain thing. Now there's some flaws. Like, for instance, his name's Solo because he was by himself. That's corny. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention to a certain line, but I didn't know he won the Falcon from Lando. And even if I was actually going into this film a little salty, so I was expecting to hate it a little bit, because I'm gonna be honest. Like, for instance, they're trying to do all these things. Like, I reacted to an upload episode, and there was like, that's not LeBron James. It was some random white guy, and I was like, yeah, knowing Hollywood, 30 years from now, that's gonna be the poster for his biopic. So I'm very adamant of, if a character is being adapted, I want them to look exactly like blah blah blah, like, or you know, sound like them, whatever it may be. the actor who was basically got to like the last like 3 people, he was in a movie with Harrison Ford, and he played like, I think it was played off as like his son, but it was him in the it was Age of some Adeline or something like that. He can do a good Harrison Ford impression, and he looks like Harrison Ford. And you know, I don't know if he's the greatest actor, but he's pretty good. I was salty that they didn't pick him. I was like, damn, he does a good Harrison Ford impression. He looks like him. He's, you know, I mean, he's a decent actor. He's not terrible or anything. So going into that, I was salty. But then I was like, okay, it's, you know, it's pretty decent. I don't hate it like anyone else does. You know, I enjoyed myself leaving the theater, but I didn't even see this in theater. I saw this on Disney Plus, I think. Or maybe they had it on like Netflix I think this was before Disney Plus. Kenobi series. This one's very difficult. This is probably the most difficult to rank on this whole entire like list, because there's some moments that's so fire. The final like dialogue between Anakin or Vader and Obi-Wan, emotional fire. I think that's more emotional. And look at where Revenge of the Sith is at. This is more emotional than you are the chosen one. It was said you to destroy the Sith, not join them. Bring balance in the Force, not leave it in darkness. I felt more emotional during that Kenobi series moment. Even though like leading up to it and right after it, you know, was not making sense and everything with Reva. So like, that being said, I have to put it right there. Like, there was never a moment in Solo besides him getting his name where I'm just like, bro, what is this? When he got his name, what is this? But it was not really like, oh, I hate the movie now. But there's times in Kenobi where I'm like, what are we doing? Or, bro, what is this? This doesn't make sense. Oh, I force grabbed that and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, cool. Vader's in this bitch. And I'm like, he did that so like smoothly. Now, you know, people can kind of see that he's on a different level in terms of like Star Killer pulling the Star Destroyer and using all his might. If Vader tried, maybe he could do it, blah, blah, blah. Another ship goes off. I'm too tired now. Vader, you know, Obi-Wan, and cool, and Frank, and even though it was cool, like his voice, Hayden Christensen's voice being merged with James Earl Jones, and then it was kind of like Obi-Wan, and then Darth Maul, Kenobi. Even though that was cool and all, nigga, Vader is relentless, especially when it comes to Kenobi. Just like what he did with Ahsoka. Listen, he's more likely to go after Kenobi than Ahsoka. Like if given a choice, he was like, he had to kill one of them, and he only could kill one of them. The other one had to go free. He's killing Kenobi. So for him to be like to Ahsoka, you will die, and then to go to let Kenobi run off. No, sir. Now, granted, only Ahsoka smashed the mask, and Obi-Wan hit his little equipment, but still, like he said, even if you want to consider it canon or not, like he said, I'm only surrounded by, all I am is surrounded by fear and dead men. I don't know if this is that quote, but that's a banger quote. I only heard about that quote. Andor. I'll be honest. I'll be honest right there. Like, Andor was just a good experience all around. And the crazy thing is, after they announced Rogue One, I mean, not after Rogue One came out and they announced Andor, I was like, no one asked for this. And even when Kenobi's movie, we're not doing a Kenobi movie anymore. And I'm like, you say you're doing this show and then you're not doing it. You're saying you're doing this movie and not doing it. But you keep Andor? And then they dropped a trailer. I'm like, hold on. Like, I literally said to people at work, because we was talking about The Mandalorian. We're going to talk about The Mandalorian in a second. I was like, so why are people like, I was like, yo, I'm be honest, I was not excited for that Andor, but you seen the trailer? Like, it's looking like it's pretty good. Andor is the one that's very slept on. And I have to say it, besides Star Wars theory, anytime anyone has like talked about Andor, they either haven't seen it, like if they've seen it in its entirety and sat down and actually watched it, no one has really said any bad things. Like someone be, oh, I stopped after episode 2. Well, duh, Nick, you didn't get the full, like, you're not getting the full thing. Bro, it's like watching Game of Thrones and being like, I'm 3 episodes in, didn't see a goddamn dragon, I'm off. Like, no, you're gonna get the dragons eventually, bro. Immerse in the story, in the characters, in the lore. But speaking of Rogue One, put you right there. Vader scene, nigga, yeah, and best. The last like 30 minutes, you're in great. Some other parts of the movie and good, and the rest decent and eh. Like I said, I wasn't excited for Andor, cause when I first watched. Okay, I first did a ranking of Star Wars movies, and when I talked about Rogue One, I said the last 30 minutes. I said I didn't care about the characters besides K2SO and Donnie Yen's character, because he was just a badass. Then when I rewatched Rogue One, I didn't even care about K2SO. I was just like, oh, Donnie Yen, yeah, he's cool with it, he's smooth with it, I like him. So the second time around, I didn't even care about the one character that I actually cared about. Oh, damn, I felt something a little when he died the first time. Second time, I'm like, I care, yeah, okay, whatever. So when you announced Andor, I wasn't excited for it. So I say that to say, like, and then one thing that I gave that was positive to it, because I gave like a review of the movie on another channel, and I was saying like the last like 30 minutes felt like a real like war among the stars. Like they had the little ground assault, they had like them trying to get the shields down, and then Vader came, like, bro, it was too lit. But other than that, no sir. And when I say no sir, not like trash, like, and decent, like it just what it is what it was. Now, when I talked about best, this movie did something the best. I remember for A New Hope, I said best paced, and I'll put that up there. In best. We're gonna see how it goes along the way. But speaking of Andor, I think the only reason why I decided to make this list was because how I said people besides Star Wars Theory is because he did a tier list recently, and I was like, I think he put it at like C or D or some shit. I was like, there's no way you did that. Like, he's on the mark on some things, but some things I'm like, what are you talking about? We're gonna get to 2 movies in a second. That'll be the last time I'll talk about it. But like, that was when I was really like, huh? I get what people saying this, but what? Y'all get to see what I'm talking about in a second. But yeah, I say New Hope, the best paced movie. This don't even look. I don't remember Boba Fett's mask being this huge in the poster. But Empire Strikes Back, you already know what time it is. You can make a debate going right here or there. Like it's never like before it was a debate between A New Hope and an Empire when other people didn't really have that much of a voice. You had maybe like 10 channels saying all prequels movies are bad and everything's bad, blah blah blah. Like literally, go look at some of the things that they talk about Attack of the Clones. And I was literally going into it being like, okay, let me, because it even warped my mind a little bit because I'd watched them growing up, but like I didn't have DVDs of them. Like I never had DVDs of like a lot of movies. I had Spider-Man 1 and 2, and then like a Jet Li movie, and then like a wrestling pay-per-view, and it was just a few movies here and there. And most of those came from like not Blockbuster, but it was like a video store just like that, and it went out of business. So like everything you can get whatever for $2. Then I went back and watched it because I'm watching these videos and being like, yeah, I mean I do like it, but those things do bring it down. It's less than 5 minutes of the movie. Like some of the worst things that they talk about is in Attack of the Clones. It's less than 5 minutes of screen time. Boring politics. There's not much like that's why I really compared it to a live action blah blah blah, because those same people, they like Clone Wars. They say Clone Wars fixes the prequels, but there's more politics in the Clone Wars than there is in the prequels. Now they might have more significance in the prequels than they do in the Clone Wars, like Palpatine getting emergency powers, Palpatine becoming Chancellor. I know Palpatine becoming Chancellor is more in Clone Wars, and Palpatine turning the Republic into an empire. Like the big ramifications is in the prequels, but most of the politics is in Clone Wars. So I don't know how you complain about one but not the other. Now, Return of the Jedi, I said that's the one that I'll put that right here. I'll say that's the one that has the best ending of any movie. You could argue Revenge of the Sith and Empire as like impactful and like, but like Return of the Jedi is like impactful, good fight at the end, and like Phantom Menace, good fight at the end. This also has a good fight at the end. Emotional on Revenge of the Sith, also emotional. It just isn't as dark. Well, there is some darkness with like Vader finally being redeemed and being like, dang, he was like in servitude his whole life. But it puts a bow on everything, even though you know Disney came around and they could have put a bow on that and then being like, okay, and like there's a little theater game. It's like blah blah blah, and where you can't say no or but, you have to say and to like keep whatever going. That's what they could have done, but you know, we get that in a second. But so best ending, I think I said these two were like, I think I said Revenge, best moments, best overall, best pacing, best ending. I think I said one of the best lightsaber choreography, even though I think, for me, I think you could debate Anakin versus Obi-Wan and Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. But I said just the sake to give them something the best, I think I said lightsaber for them. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I don't think I gave anything for Attack of the Clones. I don't remember. I think there's like 2 that I didn't give best anything for. Mandalorian. I'm not gonna lie. Ugh, it's tough. That's tough. Okay, I gotta do it like this. I gotta take season 3 into account though. I'm gonna do it like this. Yeah, I'll do it like that. Yeah. I can't put Phantom Menace into great. I want to put Andor into great, but Phantom Menace has some best moments, and some great and good moments. Andor just has good and great moments, slow here and there, but just good and great most of the time. Mandalorian has great moments, a lot of slow moments. Season 3 gave it some bad moments. I personally think people overhype Mandalorian. I think it's a good show. People overhype it. Now, this is. I might maybe one day, if I'm feeling fancy, make a video essay or whatever video talking about it like one last time. But if I don't do it, then this will be one of the last times I bring it up. What I personally think they should have done. Also, I'll mention the closer look video, how to save Star Wars. I guess maybe this might be the last time I mention that. But before that video came out, what my idea was I think they should have had the show be called The Mandalorians. Or, I mean, even if you wanted to call it The Mandalorian, but I think to not like false advertisement, The Mandalorians, Season 1, Din Djarin. No Book of Boba Fett. Season 1, Din Djarin. Season 2, Boba Fett. Season 1, and then like, okay, you can have other characters come in the mix. So season 1, you could still have some Boba Fett and some Bo-Katan, but they're not like, they might not even like interact with Din Djarin. They just have little side stories. So, and in season 2, okay, season 1's mainly Din Djarin. You have a little bit of Boba Fett doing his own stuff, a little bit of Bo-Katan doing her own stuff, a little bit of Sabine doing her own stuff, whatever it may be. And then maybe you have some overarching villain, and they have to all come together. How they had to go against Moff Gideon. You have each one of them dealing with problems that have to do with Moff Gideon. So Bo-Katan dealing with the Purge, Mando dealing with Grogu, and Boba Fett, he just has this little storyline getting his armor. Like, everyone knows Boba Fett. You could show him in the trailer to end the trailer. You let it known that it's a different character. Then you show him at the end. Everyone's hyped. We're gonna see Boba Fett. We get a little bit of pieces of him every episode. Season 2, you get kind of the same thing. And then, like how in season 2 they have Boba Fett coming through, you already had a little bit of backstory. Now you really have, they had that little tease in season 1, but you have more scenes other than that. Like, you actually know who it is. Season, or maybe not even show Boba Fett in the trailer. Show that little tease you gave in the season 1. So that in the trailer, people speculate, and then you see him actually in the series. Just little bits and pieces. Season 2, he's on the poster with Bo-Katan and Din Djarin. And then some people are in the background, some people are up front. Still kind of the same story, but you have a little Bo-Katan in the mix. As well as the other Mandalorians, like the armor and this, that, and the third. Season 3. Make that Book of Boba Fett, but actually make it good. And so, it's called The Mandalorians. Even if you have that Mando episode, it doesn't matter. It's The Mandalorians. That's what you're here to see. Season 4. Bo-Katan. You can stick with the book of blah, blah, blah. Season 1's just The Mandalorian. The Mandalorians. Season 2, The Mandalorians. The Book of Din Djarin. Season 3, The Mandalorians. The Book of Boba Fett. Season 4, The Mandalorians. The Book of Bo-Katan. Season 5, The Mandalorians. The Book of Grogu. Whatever. However you want to proceed the storyline. Speaking of Book of Boba Fett, nigga, that shit trash, my nigga. That shit trash. There's some cool little moments, little here and there, blah, blah, blah. The Mando episodes were better than The Mandalorian Season 3. Book of Boba Fett, I'm sorry. Trash, my nigga. Ahsoka. Ahsoka, I'm gonna have to throw that right there. Nah, I'm gonna have to throw it right here. The fan service moments in Mandalorian were more, this is a good project still, even without fan service, but fan service made it great. Ahsoka, better fan service, but it wasn't better as in terms of filming. Resistance, I haven't seen it. I heard it was absolute garbage. And I think it's made for kids, so who even cares? Force Awakens. Now I think when I said best, I said this one has the best cinematography. I'm like looking back, like I think the thing that really kicked it off for me is like there's a moment where like they're like following a character going down a hallway or something like that, and I'm like, do we ever see like camera movements, like not like pan to the side, but like camera moving with characters, and this character's fighting and we're following them instead of it's on the tripod and or whatever type of rig and we're just moving it to the side, where like the camera actually moves, not moves directions, but like let's say I'm the camera operator and I got a rig, instead of going like this, I'm walking forward, backwards, I'm moving to the side, doing whatever. And plus, you know, this was 2015, so obviously visual effects are drastically better than they were in the early 2000s, late 1990s, and the late 70s and 1980. Force Awakens. Now, Force Awakens, unfortunately, the later films did not help you out in the long run. But if we're just looking at it by itself and only taking the other films into account, let's see. I gotta go right there. I'm sorry, Mandalorian fans. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mandalorian fans. If Mandalorian didn't have that season 3, I could have possibly argued to put it after Mandalorian, maybe after Ahsoka. But basically, it was kind of a rehashing of A New Hope, but that doesn't really make it a bad film. Like, it's like, now there's some moments where even the first time I watched it, taking, you know, nostalgia off. Like, for instance, they, instead of, oh hey, I am your father, it was like the droid is upon the Millennium Falcon with your father, Han Solo. Like, you wouldn't, no one would talk like that. So like, that was one moment where I was just like, why would he say it like that? Like, if any, and then also I saw him again. Like, you could have had it, you could have not had that Snoke moment of him talking to Kylo Ren. Had the I saw him again. He said, I saw our son. And just say, I saw him again. Maybe be like, oh, why is this guy freaking him out so much? Ben. Who's Ben? I thought this is Kylo Ren. And then, okay, yeah. Oh, that's his blah, blah, blah. And so you're thinking, okay, You know, you're about to bring him to the try to bring him to the good. He's, you know, feeling conflicted, blah blah blah. You just got the revelation that that Han Solo is his father. Boom, killed him. Two big moments back to back. But like, we already know that, we probably know what time it is, especially with Harrison Ford not really liking it. Last Jedi, controversial take. Right there. Last Jedi had, I'm gonna be honest, Canto Bite scene, if you cut that out of the film, I don't give a damn what the haters say. I would have put it up in good. I don't know about great. When I left the film, I was just like, yeah, I kind of didn't really like the Canto Bite scene. You know, a whole 30 minutes of this thing that didn't even really matter in the long run, but whatever. And then Rose's stupidity, not saving, blah, 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 but you could have killed both of y'all doing that anyway. Trying to save Finn. So, I'm like, so when I leave the theater, I'm like, yeah, that little Rose and Finn story arc kind of brought it down for me, but you know, then there's moments here and there that I really didn't like. Oh, also the thing that I said was the best for this. I don't care what you say, whether you like the film or dislike the film. Now, there could be some moments that I'm not thinking of, but the acting was Hall of Fame in the film. Mark Hamill saw the script. He was like, well, if I got to do this, then I'm going to do it good, I guess. Come on, bro. But going into this, now you got to look at certain things going in. What never made sense for me is when people gave the complaint about Luke and said, oh, well, he didn't want to train Rey, and then he was this blah blah blah, so Rian Johnson blah 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 blah. No, were we not paying attention to The Force Awakens? Luke distanced himself. Obviously, there's something there. Now, whether you don't like how he explored it, it doesn't make sense for her to pull up and be like, I wanted to be by myself. Let's train. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. Obviously, he's going to feel some type of way, like something happened. There's something there. Grandmaster Luke Skywalker. Now he's all alone by himself. Now, granted, if maybe at the end of Force Awakens, he was doing something else, and then he got trapped there, and then she was there to save him, and then we start a Last Jedi, and then he doesn't want to train her, then okay, that's valid. It doesn't chronologically make sense for Luke to want to distance himself from everyone in the galaxy, including his sister in The Force Awakens, then get to Last Jedi for him to be like, here's this random person who hands me a lightsaber, I want to train them now, with blah blah blah. It doesn't make sense. He wants to be left alone. He doesn't want anything to do with whatever. Now, and then also with the whole assassination thing, I guess y'all only are seeing Kylo Ren's point of view. But you can see that someone like would make a mistake. Oh, that's not my Luke Skywalker. Just because something happened in the past doesn't, like they say, once a cheater, always a cheater. What does that indicate? That once someone is a certain way, whether they take steps to try to prevent it, there's still that innate thing in there. So what happened in that scene, it was an innate thing, was just in there. Now, granted, I'm not saying that's the masterpiece scene. I enjoyed like seeing a a character who was broken and from whatever happened that could have been explored better, picking himself back up and then going out in a fire way that never has been seen before. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I wasn't really a big Luke Skywalker guy, but then we get to that last scene. I'm like, okay, Luke. Now, granted, I don't know if the context of that scene was done better, then I could think of how you would say much about that final scene. But back to the scene most people are talking about. Him knowing Vader is his father and knowing he feels there's some good in him, and then him completely unloading, about to kill him, and then even not really for Palpatine, but it's in Palpatine's favor. He made that mistake once, even though he was a lot younger. And just knowing that even if this person's someone close to you, that one person can make a drastic change. Darth Vader changed the galaxy completely. Luke Skywalker changed the galaxy completely. And now with this new reiteration, or not reiteration, but like in this Disney fanfic, Luke Skywalker changed the galaxy. But in that moment, he's thinking, this kid could be the next Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker, but he's kind of going toward Darth Vader. Should I? Nah, I can't do it. Him turning off the lightsaber, or did he turn it off? Him like being like, I couldn't do it. It's him looking at his hand and looking at Vader's hand. Now, our final time talking about this little Star Wars theory joint. You could pick whatever one you think is worse, but the shit's trash. The first thing that made me go like, what the fuck, when it came to Star Wars theory, was he spent like, I think when he first talked about the film, he liked it and then started liking it a little less, but like basically there's a good moment where the Last Jedi shit and blah blah blah, Rian Johnson, this, that, and the third. So I'm like, you know what I'm saying, after I seen the Rise of Skywalker, I'm like, man, I can't wait to see what these people talking about it. Jeremy Jahns, blah blah blah. I don't remember who I watched and what exactly they said, but I just remember clicking a Star Wars theories video. Obviously, those other people had to say something bad about it, but he was like, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I was like, what the fuck? There's no way he just said that. There's no way. Rise of Skywalker. After, like, basically, and I'm not saying this is what ruined the movie. I'm saying this is the moment around this part of the movie when there was never really a good moment. I mean, there's little good moments, obviously, but like, there was never like, that was pretty enjoyable, but that was, oh, I like that. Somehow Palpatine returned. Now, granted, that in itself is an L. But I'm saying that was, it wasn't at that moment where I'm like, this movie's trash. It was years go by and I'm thinking, I enjoyed some parts of it, where I enjoyed more parts of it was like the first like 20 minutes. Like first like 20 minutes is like right when he says somehow Palpatine returned. I remember, okay, I enjoyed a little banter, this, that, and the third. Hyperspace jumping. When I watched it, I was like, people might get mad at this. I don't know. I'm indifferent on it. It's a little cool concept, but I'm indifferent on it, whatever. little back and forth when he returns with Poe and Rey, blah blah blah. Like we didn't really get these interactions in the previous films. I'm like, okay, you know, we got our three main protagonists together. I'm like, all right, cool. Palpatine return. Now, granted, listen. Like I said, I talked about Nick Gillard and how the fight could have been with Palpatine. I was never really a big Palpatine guy. Cause I'm like, I couldn't have a visual representation. And like I said, it's not the same when it comes to animation for me. I'm sorry, it is what it is. But visual representation of what he could do with a saber. So like if, okay, yeah, he's this powerful, you have Yoda and Palpatine, and then Anakin is, you know, Yoda, Palpatine, and like your Mace Windu's and stuff like that, and then your Anakin's just rising up and give him a couple years if he didn't lose his limbs, and he's surpassing Yoda and Palpatine. Excuse me. But okay, Palpatine and Yoda are the different sides of the same coin. Okay, what about lightsabers? Different side of the same coin. Okay. What if we wanna speculate Anakin versus Palpatine? Okay, well at that moment, Anakin obviously has more potential, but he's not as powerful as Palpatine or Yoda. Lightsaber. From visually what I see, from what I'm seeing with my eyes, I'm saying Anakin, but the lore is telling me Palpatine. So that was just a little side story. So when they bring back Palpatine, not only am I like, I never really cared for Palpatine like that, and also I'm like, is this to please the crybabies who are like, they killed Snoke, blah blah blah? Because I wasn't excited for Snoke either. I'm be honest. I'm like, oh, we can finally get Kylo Ren actually being the villain, and I'm like, I don't know, how do you solve that though? Like, they might want some redemption for Kylo Ren, but you can't have that redemption, and also like it'll really definitely be the same thing. And I was like, a thing that could fix Rey is if she turned, but then that's what I was talking about with her redemption. But like if there's like two protagonists that can go against Kylo Ren and Rey turned, then you can actually be like, I can see how you can go into this. But when it came to going without Snoke, but Palpatine return. Okay, I don't know why we're doing. No, when he laughed in the trailer, I'm most definitely ready for hearing Palpatine's voices. I'm all for that. Then we get to the movie. He's actually in the movie. Not a flashback, not a vision, not a voice. Palpatine has returned. Okay, let's see what you do with it. Raise a Palpatine. All right, let's see what you do with it. You have these moments. Chewie's dead. 5 minutes later, no, he's not. I'm the spy. And then, so even if we wanted to just talk about it being like, there are some enjoyable moments, but some of these moments really did affect the lore. Mandalorian, I can't let you slide. You did it too, and within the same year as Force Awakens. Rise of Skywalker. The whole why did this happen? Why did these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 films happen? Or, well, I guess not these 6. Why did these 4 films happen? Because that guy right there wanted to save his wife from dying. So you're telling me 10,000 Jedis, not a single one of them could give him that insight. But some random orphan can look at ancient books, or some youngling at the time when Order 66 happened can do it without looking at anything. They can heal someone. Okay. Anakin, the prophecy of the chosen one. Palpatine's back. Who cares? Prophecy. Anakin turned into the dark side means nothing. So you can't even be like, oh, I like Force Awakens and hate Force Awakens because blah blah blah. That's it. I like Last Jedi or hate Last Jedi because blah blah blah. Or I don't really like how they went in this direction with Luke. Luke should have went in that direction. You can make an argument for what I was saying with Luke. The prophecy. But what you can't, it's different if Padme lived, somehow he went to the dark side, whatever, she, I don't know, ignored whatever he was doing, whatever the hell, to get to where she could be alive during the rise of Skywalker, and I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, no. I just say that to say we get to the rise of Skywalker in the timeline. Or we don't even gotta go to that. We go to the timeline of the original trilogy. And Anakin, I don't know, let's say he's still a Jedi. There's no Empire. We defeated Palpatine. There's a new threat coming along, and Anakin just kills Obi-Wan. And Anakin kills Padme, and then he does whatever. I don't agree the character could go that way. But you could try to, if they show it well enough, you could see how the steps got there. Last Jedi, obviously didn't show the steps properly, especially for a lot of people, that Luke could have gotten that way. I can see it if you... Okay, all right. I see how this little thing could, okay, all right. You can stretch the imagination a little bit and see it. You can stretch the imagination if we defeated Palpatine during Revenge of the Sith and Anakin never turned and he was still a Jedi. If you stretch the imagination and they play it out well enough, you can kind of see it. Palpatine returning, and what was the other one? The Force healing. That affects other films. You can watch how a character arc goes and be like, I don't agree from hair to hair that it should be like that, but you can make a case for it. This is set. Hey, prophecy. Hey, Anakin wants to do this here. This person way below his level. He's on the council. He's not a master, but he's on the council. He's been their top 5. You can debate top 5 ever since he got his braid. Well, not ever since he got his braid. Ever since Attack of the Clones, you can probably say top 10 for sure, but maybe top 5 of their best fighters of all time. And then when we get to Revenge of the Sith, he's in top 3 for sure. One of the so I'm saying that out of 10,000 Jedis, he's basically half his life been constantly top 20, top 10, top 5, top 3. Doesn't know how to force heal. But someone all the way down, Padawan level, not Padawan level, youngling level, can do it later on. Someone who didn't even get to get any of those levels. Okay, they're strong in their family is strong in the Force. Okay, whatever. They could do it. And I think they did it another time. Oh no, Rey did it like 4 times. No, she did it like 3 times, and then see, that was the thing that if they only had Kylo Ren do that, and they're like, oh, when he did that, he died, and if you do that, you die, and they never had Grogu do that, and never had Rey do that. Okay, maybe Anakin could have done it, but if he did it, he would have died. Maybe that's the thing you could kind of play with, like, he wanted to save Padme, but was it worth his life? Later he regrets that. Maybe it was worth his life. Maybe she could have done good where he couldn't have. You could play with that a little bit. No, everyone, Force Hills. Force Hills. Palpatine's return, he's back. It's whatever. Alright, so let's kind of work this around. Still haven't seen these. Trash. I'm not like... It season 2, I don't know if it's better or not, but it's kind of like Plo Koon. Plo Koon he's cool. If they made a Plo Koon movie, I'd probably see it. It'd probably be good. If they made a Plo Koon show, I'm sorry. I'm watching the highlights. Like, Plo Koon, you're cool. You're in my top 15 Jedis, top 20 characters of Star Wars, maybe. I don't know. But you're not, hey, we want to see you every other scene worthy. I'm sorry. Padme. I like Padme. I'm not gonna watch a trilogy of Padme. Bad Batch. I like you. I really do like you. I like you. Like when they showed you in the Clone Wars, I was like, they're lit. When they announced Bad Batch series, I was like, okay, it could be lit, but I need to see you within other projects. If they had Bad Batch in Rebels, I already talked about a Bad Batch, and if they had, maybe if they had, I don't know, one of the Bad Batch still alive during the Kenobi series, and then they, instead of some of the Inquisitors, or not, instead of Reva, we had one of the Bad Batch. He was the last remaining one in the Kenobi series. Oh, what happened to them? Are they off planet? Like, we don't know. We just know that he's the only one there. He's going after Kenobi. Okay, that's cool. Maybe it was Hunter. All right. Let's see. Bob. Yeah. And I'm only keeping this right here. Like, if it was me, I'd probably go right there. But for everyone else, you know, people think more highly of Rogue One than I do. So I'll put it right there. Boom, boom, boom. I'll go right here just to even it up a little bit. This is at the very, very end. Oh, yeah, this is at the very, very end. People like the pod racing scene. For me, I didn't really care. People didn't like the politics. For me, it was cool. Everyone likes the end. And I don't... Every moment kind of has a moment that drags in every Star Wars movies besides maybe A New Hope. That's why I said it's the best paced. And the part that I said that dragged the most was the pod racing scene, and everyone else likes that, so I'll put it right there. We'll go like this. We'll go like that. Matter of fact, we'll go like this. Boom. There we go. There we go. That's the perfect list right there. Now, you could debate these a little bit, you know what I'm saying? If you went like that, well, if you went like that, I wouldn't be mad at you. If you went like that, I wouldn't be mad at you. But for me, I'm going like this. Boom. Original trilogy, the best. Empire, the best ending, but the 4th best film, and the 3rd best of the trilogy, or 3rd best, the worst of the trilogy, I guess, unfortunately. Return, best paced, 3rd best Star Wars movie. It's in the middle of the original trilogy. But it's the first film, New Hope. We going with that. Tales of the Jedi, it could get on best. It could get on the best tier. We're gonna have to see if you do more or maybe Tales of the Sith. But let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. Thumbs up, subscribe. Stay tuned for the next one.